more online madness in regards to the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Now, normally this is something I really don't care for until, of course, something stupid like this comes up on the internet, so now I feel like I should talk about it. But essentially, we all know the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge is pretty much where you donate to a cause with ALS, which is, I think, Lou Gehrig's disease or something. I'm not sure what it is, but I know it's something bad. And what you do is you donate, get a bucket of water, dump the water on your head to simulate what it's like to have it momentarily. So, of course, there are plenty of ways to donate. You know, it's going for a good cause. All the proceeds go to finding, I guess, a cure or treatment, or pretty much doing research on the disease in order to get rid of it, like with any disease. Now, obviously, sounds like a good idea involving, you know, the community, people having fun at the same time, donate money, get rid of a disease, help out. Good. Unfortunately, since, you know, there are ignorant people out there who would stop at nothing to bring up the worst in something that's apparently that I thought was good and still think is good. But there have been a lot of posts circulating around Facebook, on the internet, about how you shouldn't do the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge because for some reason it involves being a racist. Now, how this matters, I don't understand, but essentially what this is that what the post is insinuating is that doing the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge means you support racism, that you hate black people, and that back in the day, you know, hundreds of years ago, back in the land of the past where all that stuff should be forgotten but for some reason won't be, back then, black people were apparently killed by having water dumped on their heads until they drowned. Go figure. So, now here's the issue. People are somehow relating the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge to those events that happened years ago. That doesn't make any sense to me, because for the only thing I see coming out of this is more anger and hatred towards something that people don't even understand or shouldn't even care for. Now, look, the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, it exists for a reason. We all know what that reason is. Why it's like this, why people see it as in a negative light, I don't understand. But what I don't get is that how the black community has this way of always trying to play the victim. And when I say this, I'm not trying to say, like, you know, I'm against the black community. I'm not saying I think black people are stupid or anything, but this is just one of many reasons as to why I feel like our people just aren't getting it yet, because for some reason the black community doesn't seem to go into an uproar until they feel like they've been threatened. For example, like I think Michael Brown recently, the new young black teenager who was gunned down by a white policeman. Now, of course, just like with Trayvon Martin, national outrage, everyone's going crazy. White versus black brought up all over again because, you know, since the Trayvon Martin issue was dying down, we need something else to get back into the fray so we can let everybody know, hey, we're important. You know, there's this going on. Like, here's how I feel about that. The whole thing, I feel for the family of Michael Brown. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm not saying that, you know, I don't care about it. I do. It's an issue. However, every time this happens, all of America, because this country just is not good at we're not good at understanding what it means to move on. Now, of course, there are evil people in the country. There are bad policemen. It's just, you know, it's life. It is what it is. But it seems like whenever something bad happens to a black individual and it involves a white individual, the whole country just goes up into like complete madness, because all we care about is the drama between a black man killing a white man killing a black man, or any type of thing involving that. We have not yet figured out a way to get over that, because we're so attached to the past to the point to where it's become a staple in American society. And that's a bad thing. I recall this, you know, black man, you know, back in the day who preached something about having a dream, how black and white people are supposed to come together and be friends, you know, all that bullshit. But apparently that's not important, because the only thing people in this country care about now is the action between the negative impact between a black man and a white man. or a black woman and a white woman. There's always some type of anger consuming both sides, and it's mainly the black side, and all that does is show that black people, you know what black people are good at doing? Holding a grudge. That's all it shows that we're good at doing. And of course, not every black person is like this, but that's how the media is going to treat it, and that's how everyone's going to see it. Because you get online and you see this, and if you only see things in one of two ways, black or white, then you go for it. You know, and that's the issue. Now, for the whole ALS thing, I support it 100%. I think it's a great idea. It's a good cause. I don't see the downside. Now, what I don't understand is, like, if there is a downside to this, what is it? Because according to these posts about how black people were drowned back in the, like, yeah, that sucks, I get it, but that was years ago. It happened, it's over. You know what else happened to black people back then? They were raped, they were shot, they were beaten, they were hung, they were burned, all that stuff. Okay, we get it, it happened. No, it is a big deal, but as of right now, in the year 2014, none of that stuff is happening, not on a major scale like it was so many years ago. So I don't understand why people are going so far as to dig up old shit that doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. Yes, black people were drowned back in the day. So, like, it's 2014. Is that happening now? Is there some, facility out there where white people are just drowning the hell out of every black person they come across? No. And if there is, we don't know about it. Then, again, that's a big if. You have to discover something like that for it to be an issue. Just because you bring up some old article saying that was one of the many methods that old evil white supremacists used to get rid of black people doesn't mean it's happening now. And yes, I'm defending white people on this because it shouldn't even be a case of black versus white. ALS is a issue that affects humans. And that's another thing that's in this post. It keeps saying ALS affects 93% of white men. And I'm like, why do you have to put so much emphasis on the fact that it only affects white people? Are you saying that you don't want to support it because it only affects white people and not black people? That doesn't make any sense. So the way I see it is like, this is a disease that affects humans, people, black, white, Hispanic, Asian. It doesn't matter. It affects people. Just like, that other big evil virus in Africa where there's mostly black people called Ebola, where I'm sure there are plenty of white people going over there to try to fix it, trying to find a cure, trying to find treatment, who's actually risking their lives to find a way to get rid of a disease that is mostly affecting black people. But no one seems to care about that now, is it? It's all about Ice Bucket Challenge, and how it's somehow racist out of nowhere. So it's completely stupid. So I support the ALS research because it affects humanity. Like, people just do not want to see things. They don't want to see the big picture. It's not about black or white. Just because you're black doesn't mean you have to look out for your own race's interest. We should be in a time where everyone is on the same page. Everyone's supposed to be equal. I could have sworn Martin Luther King's speech insinuated that we look at each other as brothers and sisters regardless of color. It doesn't matter if, like, the color of your skin shouldn't mean anything. The fact that we're all of the same race, the human race, one race, not multiple races, one, we should all look at each other as one big family, help each other out, and do whatever we can to make the world a better place. And ALS research is just one of many examples of that. Just like finding a cure for Ebola or AIDS or whatever other huge problematic disease out there. So this is essentially just like to call out every ignorant moron who agrees with the fact, what they think is that ALS is a bad thing. Those people, stupid. Because basically what you're saying is that you couldn't give a single shit about any other white person out there right now because ALS only affects them and not you. That doesn't make any sense. You're no better than the evil white folks who did that to black people back in the day. Do you really think that every white person you come across is somehow in some type of organization just to get you. Like, no. And I feel bad for, you know, the people who that affects, because now they're like, you know, just a regular white person who has no idea what happened back in the day or had nothing to do with what happened back then. We're in a different timeline. Those were generations ago. I'm not going to run up to my white friend and say, fuck you because you're white. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, he had nothing to do with what happened to my people, just like I had nothing to do with it. The only thing we share is the color of our skin. I didn't know any of those people personally that died back then. He didn't know any of the people who killed people back then. Like, it's one of the many problems with this country, and racism just seems to be that one thing that we just won't let go. It's like an American pastime. Like, we can't live without it. We just gotta have it. Like, we have to wait for something bad to happen and then just squeeze as much as we can out of it, because America loves racism. Like, black people love racism. White people love racism. We can't get enough of it, especially black people, because most black people use that as a crutch to, like, hey, I deserve this because I'm black. And like, no. Granted, America is a country where it's still affected to the point where, yeah, black people are affected more by racism than white people are. But it's just a thing. There's something else we have to work on. This stuff about ALS being racist doesn't fix the problem. All you're doing is creating more hatred, more anger, more problems. You know, you're supposed to be fixing the problem, finding a resolution. You know, not trying to point fingers at anyone dumping water on their heads is evil. Like, white people are dumping water on their heads. Asian people are dumping water on their heads, and that automatically makes them racist? Stupid. All of it. It makes no sense. And for anyone to actually just sit there and take that and roll with it, it's complete moron, because that means you'll buy anything. I could fabricate anything and try to redirect it towards racism, and you would buy into it. I could say that my Panasonic TV was made by an evil racist white man, and the first thing you people would say is, I won't never buy a Panasonic TV ever again. It was made by a racist white man, and I could create an old false image, like, and even if the whole drowning black people with water was real, and I'm pretty sure it was, but regardless, what relevance does it hold today? Something that happened years ago, centuries ago, what does it have to do today? In the world where you guys would hop up on your smartphones, get on Facebook, and look at 50 Cent. Try to create some type of drama with Floyd Mayweather about reading out of a Harry Potter book. Somehow he made donating to a good cause beefing with somebody over reading a book. That doesn't make any sense. Why does that even matter? That has nothing to do with ALS. And I bet that page has hundreds of thousands of likes from fans, because 50 Cent is so relevant now. Like, I don't even remember the last song he was a part of. But it doesn't matter. You people need to learn how to look at the world as look at the whole picture. Stop looking at things in one color or the other color. We're supposed to be all in this together. Just because you're black doesn't mean you have to do whatever it takes to shoot down every other race and to make sure you come out on top. Because chances are in the future there won't be any single races. You know, with interracial dating and everything, everyone's going to be mixed. Good. That way we could, maybe then we'll finally get it, like, oh, we are one race. Stupid. But that's all I wanted to say. I didn't want to keep this video too long, and my brother's calling me. I will see you guys next time. Goodbye. Yes.